The tent groaned in the heat. Sweat clung to the backs of necks. A child squirmed in her seat. Somewhere above, a lion let out a sound no one heard over the organ, and then, without warning, it appeared, a shimmer at the edge of the canvas, a ripple, a breath of flame. It moved fast. Someone screamed. The first lick of fire curled up the side of the big top like it had been waiting. Paraffin wax and gasoline, slathered across the canvas to keep out the rain, fed the blaze like kindling. The roof ignited, not in patches, in sheets. It was July 6th, 1944, Hartford, Connecticut, a Thursday afternoon show. 7,000 people crammed shoulder to shoulder beneath the canvas, most of them children. Wartime shortages meant less staff, fewer exits, and more crowding, a perfect storm, a disaster waiting for a spark. And the spark had just arrived. Panic hit like a wave. People surged to their feet. Screams tangled with the blare of the calliope. A man knocked over a bench. A woman dropped her purse and never looked back. Children were torn from parents in the crush. The exits weren't marked. The ropes had been tied shut to keep freeloaders out. There were only 4 ways out. 4. And the tent was coming down. In the center ring, the band stopped playing. A clown ran off stage, dropping a prop bucket. High above, the acrobats scrambled down the rigging. The fire chased them. Its heat pushed downward in waves. Smoke blackened the sky above the crowd. Beneath it, the screaming never stopped. A mother shoved her toddler under the bleachers. A boy tried to pull his sister through a wall of legs. Someone shouted about a knife to cut through the side. The announcer yelled for calm. No one listened. The air was thick and metallic. A girl stumbled over a fallen man and kept running. An elderly couple clung to a pole, praying. The sidewalls bulged outward. Someone began cutting with a pocket knife, just a small slit, but it grew as dozens clawed their way through the fabric. And still the roof burned. It sagged, creaked, and collapsed. It took 10 minutes. When the ceiling gave way, it brought a storm of fire with it. Molten ropes, steel poles, burning canvas. Piles of bodies clogged the exits. Some had jumped from the bleachers and shattered their legs. Others were found clutching each other, mouths open. A man was seen lifting children and throwing them over a fence, one after another, until the fire took him too. Some made it out barefoot, their skin blistered, their voices gone. 168 people didn't. Firefighters arrived to a wall of heat and bodies. They pulled survivors out of tangles, charred, silent, some still breathing. Water poured from hoses, steam rose in bursts. The grass beneath the tent hissed and curled. In the nearby parking lot, a father stood screaming at the sky, hands bloodied. They found the girl in white curled beside a stranger. She had no ID, no shoes, just a ribbon in her hair. They called her Little Miss 1565, the number tagged to her body in the morgue. The city tried to identify her for months. No one came. In the aftermath, the questions came quickly. Why had the tent been treated with gasoline? Why had the exits been blocked? Why weren't there fire extinguishers? Why was there no alarm? The circus packed what was left and moved on. A drifter named Robert Segui confessed years later, said a ghost told him to set the fire. But there were no witnesses, no proof, just smoke and silence. The fire changed everything: laws, building codes, exit requirements, fireproofing standards. But for the families who buried charred shoes and baby teeth, none of it mattered. They held funerals with closed caskets, built memorials with no names, and the field where the tent once stood was left empty for decades. Some said, on quiet nights, you could still hear the faint sound of the calliope echoing in the dark. Not a melody, a warning. Thank you for listening to Road to Ruins. Subscribe for more true stories where systems fail and people pay the price.